I'm starting to feel the pressure. So I've decided to get some advice from a decluttering expert. If you have been watching along before, you might remember a video where I said, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing whatever. I'm just decluttering, and maybe I should have found a specialist or whatever. So that is why Liz is here today. So we've got Liz, and I'm hoping that she's going to give me some advice because I have there's what's the date now? So today that we're recording it, it's the 27th of June, and I leave on the 31st of July. But I'm going on holiday tomorrow morning, so that takes out 1 week of the next month. And I'm going to be in London for 2 weeks. So that takes 2 weeks
Okay.
out. So I've got probably the grand total of 2 weeks, maybe a little bit less than 2 weeks
Okay.
to finish it. So I want to know what would your tips be to someone who is as crazy as me, who is not just decluttering, but getting rid of as much as possible with so little time left. So what tips might you give
Okay.
me?
Okay, Laura. Well, good for you, first of all, for taking this brilliant decision um, to be nomadic, to get rid of all your stuff, and go on an adventure. I think it's brilliant. Um, and really, you've made the big decision, and now just all the little decisions of goodness, what do I do with all my stuff need to just fall into place. And you've got to do it quite quickly. So um, I think there is a few traps to avoid. One being the I'd like to make lots of money back from the stuff that I've invested in. Uh, there,
Oh, like you just hit me. Like that's where I'm at
oh,
right now because I'm at
yeah,
the end and I'm like, well, I've got this camera, I've got these things that are
yeah,
worth money, and it's the time is ticking on. And
yes,
you're right, and I'm holding on to certain things because I'm like, oh, but like I haven't sold it yet,
yeah,
and I've got a Banksy booklet, and every Sunday I'm like, I'm gonna do it on a Sunday. I'm gonna put it on eBay, and because I found out that it's worth some money. Um, but I keep
yeah,
not doing it.
yes, yeah. So selling stuff quickly can be done, but obviously you take a hit on the price. Um, you can put it on eBay for a sell it now or buy it now rather, and it probably will go quite quickly if you put it on for a low price. But you have to list it, you have to market it, uh, take photos of it, etc. And then it might not sell, and then there's lots of stress involved in that, and that's just one item you're thinking of, and then there's 10 other items or maybe 100 other items and big bags of other stuff that is just overwhelming maybe. So you could bundle your stuff, you could do a big bundle of stuff,
Oh, I
um,
like it.
and you can do that on eBay if it's all postable or easily packaged up. You could sell it on Gumtree, which would or something more local, Facebook Marketplace or something, where people will just come and pick it up, so you don't have the fuss and bother of posting it off.
I've been selling my plants on Facebook Marketplace
Oh,
actually,
I
and
love
they've
that.
been selling really well.
I love that.
But
I
they're my
love plants
babies.
too.
They're my
Yes.
babies.
Yeah.
I'm really sad to be selling them, and when I've like propagated
Yeah.
them and I'm like, this is from my big one. I
Oh,
haven't sold the big ones yet. Like the mother plants I haven't sold yet.
yeah, that is hard. I mean, there's a more sentimental attachment there, I can see. And maybe one of the mother plants or something like that. Maybe there's a friend who also loves plants that you could give one to and look after, maybe. But I guess there'll come a point that probably isn't very far away that you say, I'm running out of time. And I mean, I know you had a bike as well. I saw on one of your videos. The bike would be quite hard to get rid of. But if your new life doesn't is unlikely to involve bike transport, uh, or it's in another country or something, and you're not going to take a bike with you, that is something that could be quite easily sold or passed on to a friend quickly, which is fine. Is there some blessing that you can give to other people by just giving that bike to someone in need?
I love
Is
that.
is there a, I don't know, a homeless charity that, so you're not going to get money for it probably, but you would know that that has got that bike, you've loved it, and it's going to go to a great home, and someone's going to be really touched and blessed, and they can use it. And there's a blessing in that. It's not monetary to you, but it's a happy feeling. And likewise, maybe your plants, it's great that you've been able to sell some, that's fantastic, but maybe you're going to be left with some, and your friends maybe have already got some plants. Maybe there's a school or a residential home for older people, or something community-ish that would not give you any money for it, but would just really take it as a lovely thing, and it would brighten up their house or their home, whatever.
I love that idea. So you've taken this thing and giving it away can bring you even more joy. So it
Yeah.
helps with the attachment. So because I've got the attachment to it, so that's
Mm.
painful to get rid of
Yeah.
it. But you're saying I can get rid of things and maybe even feel joy or
Yeah.
like gratitude. And yeah, I
Absolutely.
could, it's going to make me feel good giving it to someone else. I love that.
Hopefully.
And
Hopefully.
is that so? Would that be your kind of advice for getting rid of sentimental things, or do you have any other advice for getting rid of sentimental
Right.
things, or is this something you struggle with as well?
Yes, so sentimental things clearly are more challenging. I would say that with anything sentimental, whether you're on a deadline like you are and you've got to fit everything into a car, is that right? Like it's got to be quite small, or into a couple of bags,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
couple of bags, or even if you're just, for anyone decluttering, um, give yourself a physical boundary, unless with the exception of things you're going to use. I'll come back to that in a moment, but if it's just sentimental lovely things from grandma, or passed down, or wherever they're from, if you say, well, this is the size, so if I've got a suitcase, I'm going to give myself a smallish box, and it has to fit in that box, whatever it is. If it doesn't fit in that box, it's quite harsh, but I'm going to take a picture of it, and then I'm going to find a good home. Or even a charity. Remember that when we give things to charity, someone in the charity, if you give it to Bernardo's, some children who are really, less fortunate than us, are blessed by that money that is made from the thing that you're giving to charity. So there's still good coming from it, and you've still got a photo, and the memory, your memory is not tied up in a thing. Your memory is in here, in the heart. um, so boundaries, physical boundaries, are really helpful, and in the situation of just being in a normal home where you're not giving away everything and going on a big adventure, having a set boundary is also a really helpful thing. So this is my box of precious memories of different people. I'm not keeping anything more than this, because keeping more than this then becomes a burden and not a happy memory, not honouring the person who we're trying to remember. The thing I was going to come back to about useful things, that's a whole nother story, because if you're going to use something and it reminds you of a loved one or a happy memory, happy days, that is a win as far as I'm concerned. And I've got a lovely saucepan that I use nearly every day that was my grandma's.
Oh,
And yeah, Granny used it and burnt the handle, and I use it all the time, and it's lovely. Lots of other things of grannies we've let go, but the saucepan is wonderful because we use it and it reminds me of Granny.
Oh, I
So
love that. And I suppose another thing, like when it comes to the kitchen and when it comes to cooking, so there are certain recipes and things that remind me of my great nan. So we
oh
don't
yeah.
have anything physical, but not even myself. But if someone else makes Welsh cakes, it reminds me.
Oh, lovely. Really nice.
So
Great.
you write a blog about all of this stuff. Is that right?
I do, yes.
So what got you into it? So what made you decide to blog about it? What made you just what made you want to start on this journey?
Well, I have three children and a husband, and we moved round about, I think it was about 10 times since having children 10 years ago. And we we gained a lot of stuff when we had children. As most people who've had children will know, you suddenly gain an awful lot of stuff. Um, and we had a boy and a girl, and then another girl. And so you gain girl stuff and boy stuff. And we're moving house and packing up boxes, unloading, and not sometimes not even unloading the boxes. And there's more stuff, and it just becomes out of control. And then I came across someone actually on YouTube who proposed quickly getting rid of your stuff and having an easy life. And it was, yes, give me some of that. And she wasn't talking about picking up every baby item of clothing and shall I keep this or not? She was, no. Get for example, all your son's clothing, pull out 5 pairs of trousers, 5 t-shirts, everything else goes into a box that you'll see if you miss it, and just live with that for him. And for myself, for example, 12 pairs of socks. I just picked a number. I said 12. Get rid of everything else, and I'll pick all the black ones. I'll just have 12 pairs of black socks. And it's just simple, just these simple things. And then I started more and more through the house. I mean, it's not completely decluttered, and there's still plenty of mess. I mean, there's 5 of us living here, but this is a message that it gave me life. It gave me relief and freedom, and when people came to visit, I wasn't totally overwhelmed with stress about how does the house look and so on. Mostly, it's okay that the areas of the house that would be seen, the kitchen, the lounge, and that just gave me such life. And I thought, wow, if I could just communicate this to some other poor, I mean, I was thinking kind of poor mums who are overwhelmed with kids' clothes and kids' toys, but anyone who is just finding their stuff is taking from them rather than giving. Because we think that having more things is good. And there are times when we need something and we go and get it and it's good and it adds to our life. But when it starts taking away from our lives and being stressful and taking our time, it's time to rethink. And I propose that it's best to do it quickly.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
the quick thing because for me
Yeah.
that's very important right now.
Yeah.
And I do have too much stuff. And when so I don't even know how many years ago it was now. I went to Australia and I just took a backpack and I lived for a whole year with just a backpack. So I know I do not need all this stuff. And
Yeah.
when I came back, it just started creeping back in because I love charity shopping. And I would go and I would buy things to sell as well. So I it was like a game that I'd play with my mum as well. And we'd be like, what can we find that's worth something? Get it for £1 or get it for £3 and sell it for 15. And it was a hobby. But then you don't always sell it, like you were saying, because then you've got to list it, then you've got to do this. So I had like this giant bag of clothes in the garage, and I took them to a car boot sale, and I was like 50p, everything is 50p. And I got rid of loads of stuff that way. But I was still then left with the big bag of clothes, even after that, so I made almost £100 at the car boot sale.
Great.
But I still had this giant bag, and I was like, do you know what? It's not even going back. It's staying in the hallway, and then it's going to the charity shop. And while it was in the hallway, people were like, what are you doing with this? I'm like, it's staying there because it's going.
Yeah, totally, totally. I really resonate with what you're saying.
Gone.
Yeah.
I still think I have too many clothes though. I'm wondering if maybe I should have done it your way, or maybe I'm going to go back and do it your way and be like, right, I need X amount of clothes. I'm going to take X amount and that's it. And anything else, like,
Yeah.
I don't need.
I've got a few tips. This is what I would do in your situation. Um, I with time pressure and also a big adventure ahead of you, with that in mind, I think that tonight or the first day when you get back from your holiday, I would get my bags and say, right, I'm going to pack my bags for leaving. And I'm not going to think, what am I not taking? I'll just think, right. In fact, I would probably make a list in a cafe somewhere away from your house and say, right, well, I need this many tops, this many bottoms, this many dresses, uh, a notebook, a pen, or whatever you need, da 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 da, and then go in and pick out those things quite quickly without too much thought. Put them in a bag, put everything else as far as you can, put it aside or put it in a cupboard, close the door, and say, right, I'm going to live with this for the next week because I think you've got that much time. Just let's just see how I get on with that. And if I find,
Do you know what? I'm going away with work to London for a week. I wonder if I should just take
yeah,
for 2 weeks actually. So for 2 weeks I'm going to be away. I wonder if I should just take what I want to keep.
what, yes,
So when I pack, when I come back, that's it.
yeah,
That's all.
because that's a great opportunity to try out. Is this going to be enough t-shirts or bottoms or whatever? Um, And I think there's a real, I mean, not many people have the opportunity that you're going to have here to have this massive adventure, and it's really exciting to see what lies ahead. But you don't want, I think we all have a bit of this, that stuff from the season we were in comes with us because we didn't want to get rid of it because we paid money for it or we quite like the color or whatever the thing. We take it with us, but then it takes away from the new season we're in. And you've got this brilliant opportunity to be free of stuff and to travel wherever the opportunity takes you. And you don't want to have a sort of, oh yeah, 80% experience because I've got this with me and I've got that, and I have to keep loading all these bags in the car and then out again. Where actually you could just fit it all in a rucksack and just be ready to go. You're ready to go. And another tip,
Oh, you're
sorry if you don't
spoiling
mind.
me. You're spoiling me today. Yes, I need them.
Yeah, is I did see you mentioned in one of your other videos that where you live, you have a gym and a swimming pool. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, lucky old you. So going back to the idea of decluttering fast, you don't have to muse too long over these decisions. You can just do it quite quick, shove it in a bag, and then say, I'm gonna I'm gonna take a morning to get all this done. Then go to the charity shop, go drop off the plants at a school somewhere, or whatever you're gonna do with it. Get rid of it, and then say, I'm gonna spend the last week that I'm here using that gym, using that pool, making the most of it, going away on my adventure, feeling in tip top condition. And if anyone invites me out for coffee because I'm leaving, I'll be available. I won't be at a car boot sale. And
Oh
I'm
my
hoping
gosh. Liz, I feel
just
like
to
you just
talk.
freed me. I feel like you just set me free in that last sentence there. You just went, and Laura, it's okay. Go off,
Yeah.
be free. I feel like you've just loosened my chains.
Oh, that is so lovely.
I'm gonna do it. I don't know what else to say. I think that's it. I'm inspired, I'm motivated, and I'm ready to do it. And I honestly feel like you've just lifted this massive
Uh,
weight off me, especially because I feel like I'm running out of time. And
mm,
yeah, in the past, like when moving, I've also moved many, many times. And you leave it to the last week, and then
yeah,
you're doing everything in the last week, and you're like, and I'm packing, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing that. And the thought that I could just do it in one day, like, what?
yeah. No,
And that excites me because I don't like it when you've got this big deadline. And so it's going to take, if I've got a month, it's going to take a month. If I've
yes,
got 6 months,
exactly.
it's going to take 6 months. But
Yeah.
like, you've just given me a day to do it, or even a morning, you said.
Right. Yeah, why
And
not?
I think I'm going to do that. And as soon as I get back, that's what I'm going to do in just one day.
One day. Yeah. I hope you have an amazing time.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, you're
And I
welcome.
just want to say a massive thank you for your advice, your wisdom, like everything. And yeah, I feel great.
Oh, yay!
So thank you so much, Liz, for coming on. It has been an absolute pleasure. I feel like you've just lifted this massive weight off me. I'm buzzing and I'm excited and I'm ready. I was feeling quite tired today and now I'm full of energy. So if I wanted some more tips, where could I go to find you? Where are you on this big internet thing?
Well, I have a blog at declutterwell.com. So I'll just spell that for you. It's declutterwell.com, C-O-M.
That's it.
And
Well, love it.
declutter well. And there's lots of information on there, how to declutter, how to do it quickly, how to sell your clutter, how to declutter without even decluttering, all sorts of
Oh,
things.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Liz gave some excellent tips and I can't wait to try them out. And I have linked below her blog so that if you want to try them out as well, you can. And she's given so many different tips. And I'd love to know, are you going to do any of them? Did any of them excite you? Are you now thinking like, oh, doing it fast like that? Yeah, I could definitely do this. And if you do, let me know. I want to know how your decluttering is going.